My man Mike Hughes in the building, newest member of the Give Us a Shot network. So follow him at the Shy Kid, TheChi.kid on TikTok specifically and Instagram, so we can grow that. But he'll be contributing to the Give Us a Shot network more frequently. So what's up, man? How you feeling?
Man, it's a blessing today. We had Give Us a Shot. They gave me a shot, boys. They gave me a shot. So I always, it's always a blessing. It's always an amazing opportunity to work with great people. And you guys are nothing but great. So I mean, it's just a blast chopping it up.
So you're going to see more of him around the network. We're going to try to get him his own thing going more consistently, audio, video, whatever he wants to do. Definitely on social media because he's the king at that. I'm a big fan of his social media stuff. He's a lot better at it than I am. So hopefully he can help me out in that regard. So let's start with Justin Fields. The Steelers obviously got Russell Wilson. And then I guess less than a week later or about a week later, they traded for Justin Fields. Fans have been super high on Justin. You have been super high on Justin. We've talked about it on this show before. They couldn't get anything more for him than a third round that turns into a hold on, let me check my notes. No, it was a 6th round pick. It's even worse than that. It's even worse than a
2025
and 2020. So literally the worst thing you could possibly get for a starting caliber quarterback in the NFL to a team that he probably won't start for at least the first part of the season. I guess it'll depend on what happens with Russ. If you believe that Russ is washed or not, we'll find out pretty quickly, I think. But who do you think got it wrong here? Do you think the fans are wrong, or does Ryan Poles know what he's doing and he knows that Justin Fields isn't really that good?
I want to break it down from an athlete's perspective, and maybe maybe I peaked in high school from an athletic perspective, and I'm just playing beer league softball now. But as an athlete, you are in a position right now. If you're Jalen Johnson, DJ Moore, you and I talked about this a couple weeks ago, and many people were upset about it. But regardless, argue with your mama because Jerm and I weren't wrong. These guys were willing to go through a brick wall for Justin Fields. These guys wanted Justin Fields in the building. So the situation you're in right now, Jerm, is we have screwed you over for the last 2 seasons. Now, obviously, Ryan Poles wasn't there in Justin's rookie year. He didn't draft him. He immediately turned the team into a rebuild. Hey, you like Khalil Mack? Gone. You like Akeem Hicks and Allen Robinson? Gone. New O-line? Nah, gonna get worse. We're gonna have Lucas Patrick and Sam Mustipher having your back. So when you look at that, you screwed me over. You gave me Velus Jones, Chase Claypool, Dante Pettis, and Byron Pringle as my number 1 wide receivers prior to DJ Moore. And now you're going to send me somewhere I don't want to go. Ian Rappaport reported there were 4 teams that were interested in Justin Fields. I'm presuming that one of them was Philly because they kind of also immediately after they made that 6th round pick move for Kenny Pickett. So I imagine that 6th round pick in 2024 would have went to the Bears if they were interested. The tush push between Saquon Barkley, Justin Fields, and Jalen Hurts would have been insane. I mean, in the words of Skip Bayless, they would have been all in my ass. But, I think at the end of the day, Ryan Poles understood this. Keenan Allen is on a 1-year deal. Are you going to take care of me? I'm moving my family to the Windy City instead of San Diego and LA. I'm moving everything I know to Chicago. Are you going to be all in on me? Are the players in that building and future free agents going to say Ryan Poles takes care of his own? And Justin said, listen, I don't want to go to any of those other teams. I want to go to Pittsburgh. And he did right by him, Jerm. And that's where I'm at right now. From an athlete's perspective, if I'm Jalen Johnson, DJ Moore, I go, yeah, maybe he didn't get a good shake, but you did right by him and sent him to a place where he felt like he could get the best possible situation out of it. So I think he did do right. I think the fans are upset about it, sure. But at the end of the day, what's the difference between a 2024 6th round pick and a 2025 6th round pick? If it makes you look better as a general manager and as a person for future free agents and your ball club to still have faith in you, I'm rocking with it. I think I lost your Jerm.
No, I keep muting myself. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
I know I've been low on Justin Fields. And I know, at some point last year, like before the season, there was like, hey, Justin Fields, MVP, maybe, and he had a pretty good stretch there. He had like a 3-game stretch where he had like an insane amount of passing yards specifically because he was balling. And, so I do get the allure. I do get the 4.4 speed. I get the size. I get all of it. It's just the problem with him is my major criticism for him. There's been way too many stretches of not good play. And then there's been sprinkles of exceptional play. And you can't be too high, too low. Like he's just been average, but then he's just been god awful, and then he's been really great, but less than he's been god awful. And I think that's where you're seeing teams kind of, man, now this kid is built like some type of Cam Newton cult following thing, right? Like there's the believers in him are just believing in the potential. They're not really looking at what they're seeing on the field. And listen, I get it. He's 25. He's a kid in the NFL. He has plenty of time to change my mind, but this is microwave culture, right? This is the exact cause, and this is the exact what word am I trying to look for? Correlation to microwave culture. We want it now. Like we just, we see these hot flashes. And so people will take the small sample size of him being great, like that 3-game stretch that he had back in 2022. And now they're making that his career instead of, and listen, you can argue didn't have enough help, didn't have this, didn't have that. It is a bad look to me for Ryan Poles to make all of these great moves and build this team for supposedly Justin Fields, only to basically give him away to the Pittsburgh Steelers, who now have a quarterback of the future because Russell Wilson is only there for 1 year and for like $1 million. So they can cut bait at any time. And the Pittsburgh Steelers aren't terrible. And so they'll have to replace
Deontay Johnson.
Butterfingers Deontay Johnson. And my Pittsburgh Steelers fans were crying, "Oh my God, I can't believe they got rid of Deontay." Excuse me, sir. You have George Pickens. You'll be fine. Like and that team, Mike Tomlin's there. Every year the sky's falling for that team, and yet they somehow make it. So
and they still have Allen Robinson, if I'm not mistaken, correct? That was a guy who Justin played with in his rookie year. So I mean, I'm not sure. I haven't looked at the depth chart as of recently, or even care what Allen Robinson is doing. The guy wanted to be one of the highest paid wide receivers. Get out of here. But, I think that could be an interesting pair up to reunite the two. But Jerm, you hit it on the head. This is a guy who I don't put wins and losses in the consideration of rebuilding teams when you're evaluating a young quarterback, especially a young quarterback. I think when you look at Justin Fields, sure, 10-28 as a starter, but I want to ask you this one. The same way I asked you who was the last wide receiver to catch a touchdown from Justin Fields in 2023, which was Chase Claypool in week 3. If it wasn't DJ Moore, it was Chase Claypool in week 3. That's crazy. But I'm going to ask you this. How many times do you think in, 38 games, Justin Fields threw over 300 yards?
Oh my gosh.
Take a guess.
I mean, it wasn't this year. I don't think he threw because he was hurt in week 4, 5, 6, somewhere in there. I would say back in 2022 in that 3-game stretch I was talking about, maybe against the Cowboys or something. I'm
going to tell you this. It's similar to his jersey number. He threw it one time. 38 games, one time you threw what is basically now the league average. You know what I mean? And I understand, Justin was in a shitty situation. There weren't a lot of opportunities to have success, but I was also there on Christmas Eve Christmas Eve or Christmas Day against the Arizona Cardinals when I see a wide open Cole Kmet going down the seam, running up the middle on the left-hand side, wide open, ready for a tutty in the end zone. And Justin just doesn't see him. And there's plenty of moments like that. And I love Justin. I'm one of Justin's biggest supporters. I'm not backtracking on anything I said before. I think to this day, Jerm, unless the Bears become a dynasty and win a Super Bowl with Caleb Williams, I'm still in my head every single night thinking, but what would it have looked like with Marvin Harrison Jr., Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, and Justin Fields? That's always going to be in my head. But you also have to understand, this is a guy who's averaging 150 passing yards a game, even after bringing in DJ, even after having Cole Kmet and Khalil Herbert and all these other guys. So as bad as Luke Getsy was, when we talk about why he was worth a 6th-round pick, let's not act like that's not happening around the league. Kenny Pickett got a 6th-round pick. Sam Howell, but he got a 3rd. No, brother. Please look at the whole transaction. They gave picks and Sam to get that 3rd. Like, it's not the same whatsoever.
Yeah, and you mentioned Jalen Johnson and guys, already a little bit of what me and you have actually talked about when, especially with the DJ Moore, like, hey, kind of insinuating that don't screw this up. Like, I like Justin Fields, I'd rather keep him, but then he kind of backtracked, and now obviously, we're moving towards the Caleb Williams and Jalen Johnson just today, March 21st. Hey, don't be coming here acting all Hollywood. Like, to me, like that's that's frustration on his part. Like, man, y'all gave up on our guy, Justin. Like, we finally, you spent years giving him nothing. Now it seems like you went all in, and then you ship him away. We got to imagine Justin had that locker room, as you said, and players are ticked off about it, man. Like, I know Keenan Allen showed up to the pro day to watch, Caleb Williams throw.
That was cool.
Brand new teammate, you're supposed to do that. You know what I mean? You're endearing yourself, embracing the future. Obviously, all that does is confirm that Caleb Williams will indeed be the number one pick. There's not going to be any trade or anything like that, because I was reading that there's still a chance that the Bears might even entertain trading that number one pick. Crazy nonsense. What's inexplicable to me, though, about all of this is, you give away Justin Fields for a 6th-round pick when Sam Darnold gets $10 million to play quarterback for the Vikings. And I love him. God bless him. But Gardner Minshew getting $25 million to play for the Raiders. And I hope Gardner Minshew starts, because I'm a big Gardner Minshew fan.
Little ass boy. No.
Yeah, I love that. I love it. And so, but at the end of the day, it's Gardner Minshew. And I'm not going to pretend he's anything more than what he is or what he has been. And so when I see that, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, I think I'd rather take the shot on Justin Fields. And I understand why teams are afraid of the lack of consistency that he's had. And the trade market doesn't rarely make sense all the time. And so, and he's coming from the Bears, like a team that's just been run terribly for the most part of a decade. And I know in Pittsburgh, they're going to say Russ is the starter.
Sure.
And obviously I think he's going to be the week 1 starter, but week 8, based on what we've seen, I don't know. Week 4. We'll find out pretty soon. It's going to be hard to gauge, because the Pittsburgh quarterback situation is both low risk, right? $1 million in a year for Russ, future Hall of Famer, Super Bowl winning quarterback, and then a 6th-round pick for Justin Fields, who could either be league MVP or he's going to be a bust, or he's just going to be one of those Cam Newton super high, super low quarterbacks that'll get you about 500 and a couple playoff appearances and maybe one miraculous run if the stars align right. I don't know if that's something that Steelers fans are, what they're more excited over, Russell Wilson or Justin Fields. It's funny, because I was going to ask you, who do you think ends up starting or finishing the season, right? Like, or what week do you think Justin Fields will take over, if he takes over at all? Like, is there a scenario where Russell Wilson just plays great and Justin Fields is just sitting there for a year? And I think that would be better for him in my head. I'm like, if I'm Justin Fields coming out of that situation in Chicago, I think it would benefit him greatly to just go sit behind. And there could be worse guys to sit behind than Russell Wilson. People make fun of Russell Wilson for being corny or whatever. He's a professional quarterback. He's a good guy, and he knows what he's doing in terms of navigating being an NFL starting quarterback. So there's a lot worse situations Justin Fields could have landed himself in.
For sure. And I think that you hit it on the head right there. Is there were other situations Justin Fields could have went to. And this is where Justin felt like he would get the best opportunity, whether that's as a starter or whether that's from a learning perspective. One thing I will say is what you said on the head was perfect. Right on the head. Nail to hammer. I mean, it was just beautiful, because you said these guys are going to be guys that get you to 500. I don't know if Steelers fans are going to be fans of that. I know who is going to be a fan of that. Mike Tomlin, who has a unblemished record of being 500 every single year. That's the expectation. This is a contract year for Mike Tomlin. I am under the impression that he's probably on his way out for his own reasons. I think he's just tired of it, in my personal opinion. And I think, whether what happens at the end of the year, this situation right here, why they go after a 1-year deal with Russell Wilson, why they go after prove it year for Justin Fields for a 2025-6 is because they don't know what the future of the organization is. They're not going to draft a quarterback if they don't know Mike Tomlin's going to be here. They don't want to extend Russ. That's why they're saying at the end of the year they'll try to extend Russ, because they don't know if Mike Tomlin's going to be there. So it's a perfect situation for everybody to kind of just, hey man, we're all kind of just here. Let's ball out. Let's see what happens. It's kind of like when me and Mike Powers were talking about you should bring, Tim Anderson and Trevor Bauer and all these different guys to the Oakland A's, Yasiel Puig, and just say, hey, go have at it. You know what I mean? All the misfit toys on one misfit island, like go crazy. I'm not saying Justin's a misfit toy, but to your point, why you go after Gardner Minshew in Las Vegas is because who's there? Luke Getsy. And Luke Getsy and Justin Fields already failed in Chicago, so I doubt they would want to go after him again. And then again with Minnesota, like, could you imagine Justin Fields, Aaron Jones, Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, and Jordan Addison, they win a Super Bowl with Justin Fields at the helm in the same division as you, and you traded him away for that. So I think they did a perfect thing where they moved Justin to a situation to where this won't bite us in the ass immediately. And if we do see him, it'll be in the Super Bowl, and that's great for both sides. That means Caleb made it. That means Justin made it. Hooray. But if you ended up in a situation to where coming down to the wire, Bears versus Vikings, and Justin Fields is the starting quarterback and throws a bomb to Jettas to win the game, I mean, I could hear the "We Want Fields" chants at Soldier Field immediately. And I think that's one of the biggest things right now for me is, fans just need to understand this is what it is. This is what it's not. Caleb's in, Justin's out. And I don't know why there's this. Jerm, let me tell you something. In Chicago right now, there is a petition being set that they make a commemorative #1 patch for Justin Fields for the 2024 season. Now, one of the only times we've ever done this is for the late great legends that have passed on. Most recently, Dick Butkus after the Washington game, which broke the 1-year curse of us not winning a game. Shout out Dick Butkus, doing God's work. But I mean, Jerm never beat Green Bay, never took us to the playoffs, never won the division, and guys want a commemorative patch.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the patch going to say? 150 for passing yards a game? I love Justin Fields, but what are we talking about? Like, it's over. And if you're a Justin Fields fanboy or you're a Justin Fields supporter, that is perfectly fine. I'm still going to be rocking with him. I'm still going to be rooting for him in Pittsburgh. But if you want to be a Justin Fields fan, then go buy a Pittsburgh Steelers hat, because we're Bears fans over here. This is the CW era now. I'm not going to say CW13 because I still don't know what him and Keenan are going to do. But like, what are we talking about? A patch is crazy. A patch is crazy.
Keenan Allen better keep that 13. Don't become
you
know what I mean? Yeah, not to no rookie who hasn't proven himself. Like, at the end of the day, you can fall in love with Caleb Williams and all that stuff, but he could end up it's a 50-50 shot with him. He's either going to be good in the NFL or not.
What's worse to you, Jerm? Is it Caleb Williams taking Justin's number or Caleb Williams taking Keenan's number?
So what's worse to me would be him taking Justin's number, because you are the guy that replaced him. They play the same position. Keenan Allen, at the end of the day, now Keenan Allen came there on like a 4-year, whatever deal, and he's the star acquisition. He could get extended there. I don't know, but he took a 1-year deal, and so he could easily not be a Bear next year. And so unless they are going to extend him, then maybe that's different. But I think when you come in and you're literally that guy's replacement, taking his number to me is another just kind of little jab, little shot.
Crazy.
You know what I'm saying? So
Jalen Johnson's fuming in the locker room. Like,
yeah. And I'm sure there's more than just him. They just won't publicly say it. But again, commemorative patch fans, like that's them falling in love with the potential of Justin Fields and them understanding the situation of this kid. This organization didn't do much to help this kid. And now that they want to start making moves, you get rid of them, which I get it. I do. If I'm a Bears fan and Justin Fields has been the most exciting thing you guys have had in many years, I understand the thought process of let's get something to honor him. Now, a patch is a little bit ridiculous. I get it. Everybody gets a statue. Everybody goes in the Hall of Fame. Everybody gets a patch. Like, that's silly. Like, no, he doesn't deserve a patch. But if I'm a Bears fan, it's like, and now for Caleb Williams, as we look to the future, and now you get time to process. I know a couple of weeks ago when we talked, it was like you still had that, like, it was like a tug of war where Justin could still be here, and we'll see what now it's final. The finality of now it's Caleb Williams. Now I have to accept. What are you thinking of when you look at this team? Let's say Caleb Williams is decent. Let's say he's are you thinking NFC North title?
I think you have to. Especially when last year you win 7 games with less. When you win 7 games with Luke Getsy, Darnell Mooney as your number 2 wide receiver, and not a great offensive line and a banged up offensive line, you start to really question, like, where is this thing going? I want to throw a little comparison to Money Mitch himself. When we're comparing what rookie years should look like, CJ Stroud, what was it, 23 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and over 4,000 yards. That's great. anomaly. You know what I mean? That is anomaly. So I'm not sitting here saying Caleb Williams needs to be the first Chicago Bear in Chicago Bears history and one of the only franchises that hasn't thrown 4,000 yards. I'm not expecting that in his rookie year, but I look at Mitchell Trubisky's 2018 season because someone in my comments said, "Oh, as long as he's not Mitch." But let's look at Mitch's year in 2018. If in his rookie season Caleb throws 3,223 passing yards, 24 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions, I'm not mad about that. The only thing I need is wins, and the wins need to come next to that. Just like in 2018 with Mitch, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Maybe we're not throwing 23-5, but I'm expecting the interceptions to be there with Caleb. You know, coming from the Pac-12 with a defensive back core that just, I'm not even going to get into the Pac-12's lack of defensive backs, but there are none. That's just what it is. But you know, I'm excited, man. You know, and I know we talked about it on the show. And I had my numbers wrong because for whatever reason, college football only wanted to show me the 2023 numbers. But this is a guy, 10K passing yards in his career, over 100 total touchdowns, 93 passing, 27 rushing, almost 1,000 yards rushing. Like, this is a guy who, even at Pro Day yesterday, said, I want to pass first. I don't like running. I can run. I don't like it. You know, I want to get my guys open. I want to get them plays. Keenan Allen, you know, DeAndre Swift, who I'm upset is wearing number 4. I kind of wanted a number 0 jersey. I've never had one before, other than like Russ, but and that's Westbrook. But, you know, with that being said, but, you know, I think I'm just optimistic, Jerm. And I think that's really all I've been waiting for is an answer. So now you can game plan for the future. Like I said, it's the CW era. And if you're a true Bears fan, get on or get off. That's just what it is. And we're in a situation right now to where this is the most thought of prospect since Andrew Luck and Trevor Lawrence. And it's like, at the end of the day, who am I to deny him until he gets here and shows me that he's not that guy? If he comes here, to Jalen Johnson's point, and starts acting Hollywood and they have to treat him a certain way and kind of nip that, okay, cool. We'll deal with it when we have to. But from what I've heard, it's an honor to be it would be an honor to be a Chicago Bear. Everything he said was perfect outside of Aaron Rodgers is my favorite quarterback. And even then, I'm like, well, it's better than saying, you know, Rex Grossman's your favorite quarterback. I'd rather you want to be, you know, trying to compliment yourself as a winner rather than as a guy who, you know, never even did anything, you know. So I'm excited, Jerm. I think, you know, this is a situation where on paper you could say this is the greatest situation any number 1 overall pick has ever gone to. And I think that's kind of been confirmed if you actually do the numbers. So I'm excited.
Yeah. So, you know, and to that, you know, just Caleb Williams needs to be careful because of the love and because of what fans of Chicago felt for Justin Fields. Like, your leash is a little bit shorter now, maybe not to the team, but by the fans. You know, you better come out of the gate hot because I don't think the grace that you normally would have gotten as a number 1 overall pick to a struggling team, you're going to get that because of what the fans felt about Justin Fields.
Well, think about what we talked about really quick. Like I said, I said it as a joke, but I also mean it. I'm from here, bro. Like, I'm not from the suburbs. I am grit and grind all the time, Chicago mentality. If we're in Soldier Field playing against Green Bay, let's say Jair Alexander has his 3rd interception of the game. Just like we saw in Justin Fields' final game at Soldier Field, I could hear it already. The "we want Fields" chance will be real, and Ryan Poles is going to feel that. So if this kid doesn't have success right away, you're going to hear the fans screaming Justin's name, because rightfully so. But if he has success, Jerm, I want to put something in your brain. We haven't beaten the Green Bay Packers since December 16th, 2018. Jerm, I had just graduated high school. I am 24 now.
Yikes.
Justin Fields has never done it. If Caleb Williams, on the flip side, beats Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers in one of his first meetings, the entire city of Chicago will only see Justin Fields as a distant memory. So that's the 2 ways it goes. There is no middle ground. It is black and white. You're either going to go down as a legend or Chicago Bears fans are going to hate you.